Hello, we are live here on YouTube. A little bit of an unusual time to do a live stream. Hopefully this is coming through okay. All right. I am having trouble now seeing the chat room. All these, it's like overall day to day, macOS Tahoe's been fine, except for things related to this live stream. So I plugged in my computer today and I have this bright green screen on my laptop as I'm connected to this monitor. And I just plugged it in as I got home like 5 minutes before this stream started. So I didn't have time to restart the computer or do anything. Now I can see the chat. Great. But I'm like, I'm not about to let the internet put whatever they want on a bright green screen of Eric's computer next to my live stream. So that's not happening today. So that's why my computer, I just like pushed it off to the side. So you can't see that screen right now. But hello, everybody in the chat. Got some great folks already here. Jeff from Georgia. Corey, good. Your sound's good. Good. The sound's coming through. Nice to see you, Corey. Albert, good to hear everything's working. Saul, yeah, I just kind of flipped everything on last minute right before we started the stream. So I'm glad that things work. Hello from Atlanta. Yes. Good afternoon from Seattle. And yes, PamaKit's able to join because it's not like 3 a.m, which my usual Thursday night streams are. It's a little bit tricky for me to do these streams for you guys on a Friday afternoon. Sometimes my schedule with work doesn't permit it, so that's why I moved away from doing these Friday afternoon streams. But this week I couldn't do a Thursday night stream because of my job, so that's why we're doing it now. This week we had a bunch of all company annual meetings, things where everybody comes into town and we talk about a bunch of stuff and have a bunch of get-togethers, and that was all amazing and super fun. But of course, last night I was in the city at a dinner, so I couldn't do a live stream. But here we are now. And it's been kind of a quiet week with smart home tech. There's not been a ton of news since last time. I mean, last time we had a lot of different things, the new UNASs. But there is some stuff I want to get to. Pull us up. All right. And hey, Eggers Home Tech, previous co-host. Driving home from work and you can listen. Yes, exactly. So, and I was hoping to also, speaking of, this week has been been running behind, I guess you could say, on the YouTube side of things. And I was hoping to have some more member benefit updates coming to announce now, but it's not ready yet. So soon I'm hoping to have some more stuff for channel members. And if you want to see up to date, by the way, news about, I guess it's not really news, but my schedule for live streams. I mentioned this on and off here, but the fastest way right now to know about my live streams is if you go over to my website, ericw.org/live, and you'll see the calendar there. And you can also subscribe to this with Google Calendar or an ICS feed for iCloud or Outlook. And then that was the first place where I changed the live stream time for this live stream. Actually, this was already scheduled last week at this time. So a good place to see what's going on with my live stream schedule and just have that in your calendar of choice. Next week, we should be back to the usual time of Thursday night, but We'll see. I change it when I've scheduled it. I change it from tentative to actually having a link to the live stream to join it right there in the calendar. So always something to point out. And then also, if you go to my website, there's the Sunday Scene is my newsletter, which I've been doing now for 13 issues. I think I did a edition 0. But yeah, so I've been doing it now for a little while, and it's been a lot of fun. This is the latest iteration of my newsletter, me trying to do a newsletter, and it's completely free, and just 3 things every Sunday that I think are worth your attention in the world of Apple and smart home tech. I've still been really enjoying, by the way, AirPods Pro 3. Talked about that this past Sunday. They're my daily carry AirPods. I haven't looked too hard yet, but I tried an Elago silicone case for this to get it to stick in pockets, because I usually like to put a silicone case on AirPods so that when you're wearing certain types of pants, it just it helps it stay in the pockets compared to the slick plastic on AirPods. But I haven't found a case I like yet for AirPods Pro 3. There aren't a lot of options yet, but other than that, great AirPods. Would recommend them. So that's that. Go back to this. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I can talk a little bit about what I do. For years I was an app developer working on iOS apps for iPhone and iPad, and earlier this year started being a manager at the same company. So yeah, now I manage a team, so I do a lot less coding than I used to, and a lot more talking and going to meetings and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's working in app development, and you might see some stuff from me developing apps for Apple Home soon. I've been, again, behind on some things with YouTube and trying to catch up, and obviously videos and things take higher priority than some of my app development, but I do have a project that I'm working on that hopefully I'll be able to ship soon. And Palmakit just ordered AirPods 3 today. Cool. That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll like it. I think it's a really nice upgrade. Oh, cool. Thanks, Corey. I'm glad you enjoyed my UniFi G6 Pro short. That was a fun little video to make. So yeah, more UniFi content coming soon. But was a fun. I'm really impressed with the quality of that camera, especially with the audio side of it too. And that's another thing I was mentioning. I was talking with a number of creators back at IFA of just the thing UniFi really gets right is a lot of their software, and I think they really spend a lot of time getting their software to be at a good quality, high quality. And I love their Apple TV app. It's very nice for looking at video. And I know with Apple Home, of course, you get a lot of integrations with the Apple TV app as well. Or sorry, the Apple TV, right? So someone rings your front doorbell. If it's a HomeKit doorbell, you'll see it in Apple TV. You can view your live streams of HomeKit cameras, and there's a lot of ways with things like Scripted to get a lot of different types of cameras into Apple Home. But I do really like just the UniFi app and being able to see like all your cameras at once in the UniFi app on Apple TV. Excuse me, being able to like scroll through the continuous video recording from any of those cameras, pull up clips, look at them. It's a nice little feature, which I wouldn't have expected that I would use as much as I do. The biggest use case, as you might have seen in that short, is that my son, especially my oldest son, but really a lot of my kids love the trash truck coming by on trash day, and they're usually this time of year, of course, in school during the time when the trash truck comes by, and so it's nice for them to be able to go back and see the recording of the trash truck picking up trash from earlier in the day. And there's actually been some times where it's been handy myself as well. There's one time last year where the trash truck or the recycling, I think, didn't pick up at our house. They just skipped our house, and I was able to call the trash truck company and be like, hey, you guys skipped our house by mistake today. Totally understandable. But like, I knew for a fact that was what was happened. That's what happened. I wasn't here. My kids weren't here, but we got it on camera. So nice things to that we use that for. I was going somewhere else with this, but I can't remember at this point. Anyways. The hype is real, Teddy KGB says for the AirPods Pro 3. Yes, I agree. They're a different fit though, and with the foam tips, it does feel a little bit different. I have heard people complain they don't quite like the new feel of them. I've gotten used to it, and I've found it to not be a big issue. But anytime Apple changes the form factor of AirPods, right, there's going to be people who, I mean, it sounds kind of, I guess, crass to say like winners and losers, right? But there's going to be people who it works better for and people who it doesn't. So, of course, Apple usually has a pretty good return policy. I'm sure if you don't like the fit in the first week, you can return them. So there's always that. What up, Ratchet Gang? Nice to see you here. Oh, wow. Saul got his first Apple Watch. That is also, by the way, from a smart home perspective with Apple and smart home. There's something I've talked about before, different times on the channel, and Saul's a pretty advanced smart home user, a regular attender of these live streams, so he probably knows what's going on here. But just in case you're newer to Apple smart home tech, there's this concept called secure requests. And a lot of smart home platforms have these kinds of ideas where you can't ask your smart voice assistant to unlock the front door or open the garage door from a voice assistant speaker in your home, because someone could rig something up, right, to just say that through a window, and then it would open your front door or open your garage, and that would be a problem. So Apple needs to make sure it is you, in fact, who's asking those requests. And that's usually then on your iPhone with Face ID. But another way that usually works well is with an Apple Watch. You can talk to, I always just hold down the digital crown, talk to Apple's voice assistant and ask it to do things like open the garage door. And that could be really nice if you go out for a walk, or I take my kids to the playground near our house, and then when we come back, it's just a nice way to quickly open the garage door while we're walking toward the house. So just something to consider too. If you have an Apple Watch, think about an Apple Watch and have a smart home with Apple Home stuff, or thinking about the flip side, right? Making your garage door smarter, or adding a smart door lock. Of course, Apple Home Key is great too, where you can tap your Apple Watch to unlock your front door. But if you're looking to do things away from the door, or especially with the garage door, that can be nice. Garage door and CarPlay is also really good too. I don't sleep with them, but I could see how maybe the new fit might not be ideal for it. They've kind of changed. This is kind of, my AirPods are clean. I was like, I don't want to like put a bunch of earwax in your view of the stream, but if I can gray out my face, then it will show. But it's like they kind of angle in more a little bit, and I could see how maybe that could go into your ear in a way that if you were lying on your ear, it might not be comfortable, but kind of have to try it. I think every ear is different. So, all right, Gumbo Penguin, first time commenter on iOS 26.1 beta in Apple Home. Some of my Aqara bulbs don't change color. You can slide the bubbles around and the color won't change. That is unusual. I've not seen that. I am not on the 26.1 beta myself yet. But heads up to those who might install it. Thank you, Gumbo Penguin. I would say talk to Aqara support. They're usually pretty good about addressing bugs. Maybe it's a software update they need to do with something with Matter that's changed, or you might also try. A lot of Aqara bulbs have multiple ways to connect to your smart home, right? It could be Thread, could be Zigbee, via an Aqara hub. It could be through Matter. It could be through Aqara, then added their hub added as Apple Home, as an Apple Home bridge that's not Matter. So you might also try, maybe it's an issue with the Apple Home connection and Matter would work fine, or reverse, right? If it's a Matter issue, then maybe adding the Aqara bridge as an Apple Home device could fix it. Although, if you have a lot of devices on your Aqara bridge already, that could be a lot of work. Speaking of Aqara, something that I've been playing with, and you'll see in an upcoming video sometime, I don't know, in the next few months. We talked about it a little bit last week. The Aqara switches. Aqara has some smart switches, and are not the smart controllers. I'm clicking around their website, pulling up the wrong thing. Here we go. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Products. So I think it's under smart controllers. Yes. So I've been playing a lot with their Light Switch H2 US, and I really like the 4-button version of this, but you can do similar things, I think, with the 2-button version. There's a lot of flexibility here because you can have multiple loads, right? So you can have up to 3 different loads, or basically 3 different electrical circuits from one switch, which is pretty cool to begin with. Then beyond that, you can do some things where you decouple these loads from that electrical circuit so that it works well with a smart bulb. So then you can use these smart switches to control, there's still switches in your wall wired to the load if you want to have that flexibility in the future, but it's also something where then it can, keep a circuit always hot so that the smart bulb or smart light is getting power, and then can control it in a bunch of other ways. So this actually works pretty well. And with Aqara has also a new, speaking of Aqara smart bulbs and smart lights in general, Aqara has some new advanced tech called Aqara Mars Tech, I think it is the term they use, MARS. It's like an acronym. And that allows it to have better control of the smart lights via an electrical circuit. And I think the whole setup is really cool. And I've actually been playing with, in transparency, I mean, Aqara sent me the Switch to play with, as well as this T1M. So I've been playing with this as part of a video project I'm working on. But the Aqara T1M is a really cool light. I've seen it. It came out a while ago, and I just didn't really have a good place to put it at the time when it came out. But I've seen it at a number of different Aqara booths at trade shows like CES and IFA, and thought, wow, this thing is actually really cool. And there's a handful of companies that make these kinds of skylights. I think Nanoleaf also might have one, and Philips Hue maybe. But really enjoying this, and it's been really cool with those Aqara smart switches and this T1M. I have some automation things set up inside of Aqara's system, in their automation system, in their app, and then some that are set up in Apple Home. So you have flexibility there, but it's a really nice light. And so that whole combination, we talked a little bit last week about wanting to have smart lights with smart switches. And so I just wanted to mention this here in case it's something you're interested in. And I'll be talking a little bit more about my specific setup, how I got it to work, what I'm doing in a future video, probably in the coming weeks. But yeah, Mars Tech from Aqara is pretty cool stuff, and I'd recommend taking a look at it if you haven't already. Oh no, yeah, the new CarPlay on iOS also works well. Fixed a Bluetooth issue. Oh no, your car dealer spent days trying to fix. Yeah, that brings me to something. I think I mentioned this last week, and was it Mac Rumors reported this as an ongoing bug, I think, with iOS 26 and some of the new iPhones. I have the iPhone 17 Pro, and the wireless CarPlay connection is really flaky. I've been having plenty of issues with it, so we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a fix coming soon, maybe on Apple's end. Of course, Apple has a bunch of their own new wireless chips in these new iPhones, so maybe it's something there. But I think there's also, just beyond that, I've heard of more people having Bluetooth issues with iOS 26 that aren't necessarily on the new phone. So just some things to consider as you're looking at upgrading to iOS 26, getting a new iPhone. Just there might be some CarPlay issues. Now for me, I just have a USB-C cable connected to my car, and if CarPlay doesn't come up right away and I want it, I just plug in my phone and then I have CarPlay play instantly. So the wired CarPlay still works completely fine for me, and it's really reliable. So that's been nice. Just because, if I need directions to get somewhere, right, I don't want to because I have CarPlay, I don't have a stand for my phone in the car, at least right now. So I need something to see the directions as I'm going somewhere. Oh, cool. So Palma Kid said, speaking of those Aqara switches, the H2EU switch for testing. Yeah, and it's also cool. It works, like you're saying, Palma Kid, with a neutral wire or without a neutral wire, which I really like. How it used to be separate Aqara SKUs, so separate products for the no neutral version or the neutral version, and now the same switch can handle both scenarios, which is kind of cool. Bought after getting one from Aqara, Palma Kid bought 3 more for his home, which makes sense. And it's also a nice thing to note about, we talk a lot in the States about Lutron Caseta and how great the Lutron Caseta system is, and I don't think they have an EU version of that. And there's a bunch of other, switches that either exist in the EU and not in the US. And Eve, of course, has updated a lot of their line. So the Eve switches, if you like those, have equivalent versions in the EU and in the US, or North America, really. But that's good to hear. Palma Kid says the EU versions of the Aqara switches are also good. So. I have not played with the SwitchBot doorbell or lock. I might. There's a lot of different things to review these days, so it's as I think MKBHD always says, it's Techtember and then Techtober, and then Techtember 2 with November. So we got a lot of. I'm working on a lot of projects, and that's also why you haven't seen like a big video from me this week. I've still been like. I haven't had as much time, of course, with all the stuff I've had going on with my job this week. I haven't had as much time to do YouTube stuff, but most of my time for YouTube has been installing new products, testing new products, stuff like that. So it's been one of those weeks, like a research week, so to speak. So I don't have a long form video for you guys. I do have hopefully some short form stuff and some other content coming soon, but yeah, no big long form video this week, just because I've been installing a bunch of stuff for upcoming weeks. Ratchet Gang, that's a good question on the iPhone 17 Pro. I posted an Instagram story. If you follow me over on Instagram, it's just my name, Eric Wiellander. Although the story might be expired at this point, because it was about 24 hours ago. Maybe I can pull up the actual screen recording. Here, let me see if I can do that and bring that up on the stream. But the 8x zoom is really impressive, and the 4x zoom. So the zoom on the new cameras. Now, to be fair and clear, I had the iPhone 16 with the 5x zoom, and that was also very good. So I would say if you already have that phone, aside from the difference of having 4x and then 8x, like, I think, it's not really a reason to upgrade per se from the 16 line of phones, the 16 Pro or Pro Max, to the 17 Pro or Pro Max. However, if you have an earlier phone and you're considering upgrading, it's a big benefit. So let me see if I can get this up here. Okay, cool. So, oh wait. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, so I realize you can't hear me when I'm talking about this, but this is the zoom right here. So I'm gonna mute the video. The 8x zoom is really good. So that's a big upgrade of this phone and the stabilization on it, because I was standing on a boat in the river here, and it looks very stable considering that I'm zoomed in at 8x and standing on a boat in the river. So that's, I think, the biggest feature for me of the new Pro phones. And I was using it yesterday a bunch and really finding it useful. I also find like the 5X on the 16 Pro and then the new zooms, I'm sure will be the same on the new phone. But over the past year, that was one of the things that really discouraged me from actually going with the iPhone Air, because if you have children who do any kind of, it could be sports or music, where you're sitting in the stands or in the audience and you want to record it, having zoom on your phone that can get to a reasonable distance so it looks good can be really nice. And then, I obviously have more fancy camera equipment that I could use, but it's nice for quick events where maybe you didn't think about bringing a big camera, or you're just focused on getting your kid to that, whatever that event is. Like our kids play music. So like getting them to the concert with their instrument and all the stuff, right? You just have your phone in your pocket and it's good to go. And the stabilization is good enough. And you can just kind of prop your arms up on something and film a little video clip so the family can see the concert or the sports game or whatever it is. So that, I think, is a big benefit of the zoom camera for those family moments. And I could see it also being useful if you go to a lot of live events and you like having recorded clips of those live events. It doesn't have to be your children per se or family, right? Yeah. And sorry for the tech difficulties earlier. I didn't realize when I load the video on my live stream, it would actually cut my audio feed. But that makes sense. So let's see. I think we've talked about a lot of different things already. Also been, we've had, by the way, amazing weather this week in the Chicago area. So nothing for me to be jealous of some of you guys who live in warmer climates, like Mr. Shane Watley. Nice to see you showing up here. And yes, love the love the 8x zoom. That's good to hear you are enjoying that too. I know, Shane, your daughter does cheer, and I can imagine it being nice for stuff like that too. But just content creation as well. I still love the idea of the iPhone Air, and I think if I was mentioning to someone this week is like if I was someone who wore a suit to work every day, like go to downtown Chicago in a suit. I would love I love having an iPhone Air just because it's so much slimmer and lighter and easier to tuck in dress pants or something like that. But thankfully, that's not the kind of job I have, so I don't need to consider that. But I really would. I think if so the typical camera setup for Apple on the non-Pro phones is the wide and the ultra wide on the iPhone 17 line, let's say. But I would love to see an iPhone Air that has a wide and a telephoto lens. And I think that would be the one compromise on the iPhone Air that would be enough to push me over the edge, like that I can't live without that. And I think that's why ultimately I went with the Pro instead of the Air. And I think if they ever have an Air, even if it's not quite as long range of a telephoto, right? It might not be a periscoping lens, but at least a 3x telephoto lens, which they used to have on the Pros before they went to a periscope lens. I think that would be enough to push me over the edge and help me get an Air. So no worries. Always good to have you here. I have not played with the new Hue hub. I know Make Smart Matter, who was a guest on the live stream a number of weeks ago now. He has a great video out on the Philips Hue bulbs, but I haven't played with the new hub. I honestly just haven't seen a reason to upgrade, and at a certain point, like maybe I do want to cover it for the channel in terms of letting you guys know, like, is there any reason you'd want to get the hub? I think, or the new bridge hub, or however you want to describe it. But one of the big benefits I see in it is capacity increase. So if you're at the limit of a individual Hue bridge right now of the number of lights, then bumping up to the Bridge Pro gives you more numbers of lights you can have connected. But for a lot of people, that's not really an issue. And hence, I think the Pro name, and there's some other features there too, but my bridge is working fine. And I think for a lot of people getting into Philips Hue, I think it's probably still better to just go with the normal bridge. If you're watching this stream though, maybe get the Bridge Pro just because you're probably more advanced smart home user than maybe just watching a few of the videos. Yeah, exactly, Saul. It's going to get cold here soon, and then I'll be wishing I was in Hilton Head or somewhere nice and warm. But right now we're certainly enjoying nice weather here. It's fall, late September, early October, I think is the ideal time for Chicago weather of the whole year. There's plenty of the rest of the year you don't want to come for the weather, but this is like the one time of year you might actually want to come for the weather in Chicago. So let's see. I think we've covered all the different things I was planning on talking about. I've also been playing still with the Ecovacs X11 or Dbot X11 Omnicyclone, working on a video there. It's a really interesting vacuum. I think it has a lot of things it does that are new or interesting, and there's not any of the features that are really like super flashy, right? It's not going to climb your stairs or go over like a massive ledge or stuff, but the suction power is really, really great, and the bagless stuff is a nice upgrade, although not completely new or revolutionary. It's just all around, I think, good vacuum. I mean, there's a lot of other good vacuums out there too, right? Like I talked previously on my channel about the Dreamy L40S. I think that's a really good value vacuum. Of course, with robot vacuums and all kinds of other tech, we got Prime Day just around the corner, so stay tuned for that. Oh no, yes, I'm sorry, I haven't been following the East Coast weather. I hope you don't get any hurricanes. That would be bad. It is that time of year for folks, especially in the southeast of the U.S. Not fun. I remember growing up in Virginia, I lived through a couple different hurricanes, and it's a weird feeling to be in the eye of a hurricane, where it's like calm after really bad storms and then more bad storms. But yeah, it's not fun. I remember various times. I think it was Hurricane Isabel. We were like out of power for a week. And it's, not uncommon with hurricanes to get knocked out off the grid. Although these days we have all these different whole home battery backup options and generators and stuff to, I guess, kind of ease the pain of some of that. But yeah, it doesn't help though if a tree falls in your house. So hopefully that all goes well for those of you. I know a number of you regular live stream viewers live in the path of hurricanes, so not fun. Yeah, cool, Texas. That's good, John. It's not too hot down in Texas. Glad to have you here on the stream. But because we don't have a lot of news, and I talked already about how the Aqara stuff I'm playing with the light switches. I think we've think we've covered just about all the cool news and toys of the week. So with that, I think I'm going to close down this quick live stream. Lurk Jerk made it from the Netherlands. Thanks for being here. Glad to see you here, another regular in these live streams. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. It's been a great time chatting with you guys about smart home tech and news. A little bit of a quick live stream this week. I might try and do some more of these. As I mentioned at the front of the stream, I got hopefully some updates for channel members coming soon. And also just stay tuned to the live calendar over at ericw.org/live, where you can get a calendar feed of my live streams and when they're happening, because I might be working in more in my schedule doing these Friday afternoon streams as possible, right? As I mentioned, my job makes it a little bit hard sometimes to do these. That's why I do the Thursday night streams most of the time. But keep an eye on my calendar feed. The Friday afternoon, I think, works better for some people. So, of course, I did one Friday afternoon 2 weeks ago. This week was Friday afternoon. So, might be doing this sometimes in the future just so people can tune in who can't tune in on Thursday night, because that's like, the middle of the night for you, whatever time zone you're in. So, yeah, especially in Europe. So, yes, have a great weekend, everybody, and talk soon. Bye.